What up, YouTube? Hello, Forever Voting Third Party. Good to see you. So far, we got 7 over on the live me. YouTube, still waiting. Show some love, YouTube. Show some love. I usually sleep 6 hours a day. That's a good amount. That's usually what I go for, actually, to be honest with you. Totally. You guys are already responding to the question a lot. I like that. You guys are already responding to the question. I appreciate it. You guys know the drill here. As soon as we get 30 on either platform, oh shit, YouTube, you guys moved on up really here, really quick. What's up, everybody? Howdy, howdy, DC. What's up, Balthazar? What's up, James? What's up, Karen? Lucy says good morning as well. What's up, buddy? Love from Philly. Hey, man, it's been a good series so far, hasn't it? I don't know about you. We may be rooting for different teams, but I got to be honest with you. I am rooting for a close game. We can probably agree on that one, right? We're rooting for a close game this time, right? We're up to 43, so guess what? Mystic Warrior, what's your punk request? Get your news on the run. You wanna know what's going on? Get your news on the day. Get your news on the run. You wanna know what's going on? Get your news on the day. Tweet me an article at Placone. We'll go through it together and make it our own. Get your news on the run. I wanna know what's going on. Get my news on the day. What up? What up, everybody? Good to see you. Good to see you. Why am I taking this off? I usually keep it on just in case something hits me. So, guys, we've already been talking about the questions. First of all, a few housekeeping things. Let me arrange the limey thing a little clearer here. A few housekeeping things. First of all, I'm not sure how much longer we're gonna stay on Live Me. But let me know what your guys' thoughts are on that. My mind's not made up. I'm just kind of wondering. I'm kind of wondering what the purpose is on all that. Here, hold up. I want to adjust this a little bit. So anyway, Live Me weirds me out. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm getting to as well. All right, I want to get all right, there we go. There we go. Sorry, the little part of my desk, my holder for the phone was sticking out and it looked goofy. It was annoying me. All right, now it's better. If you want to stay on Live Me, you'll have to show more skin, Ron. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm referring to. It seems like that's sort of what they're all about. And the Live Me app is starting to get pretty glitchy, so I'm okay with that. Uppity Bumpkin, what are your thoughts? Because I know you use the Live Me a lot. And I wonder how many people here are actually paying attention on the Live Me, or they just kind of logged in and then they're like, oh, this isn't something whatever. On Live Me, I can move around searching news as I listen. Yeah, you can do that on YouTube too, can't you? But anyway, yeah, so I'm thinking about that. I've never used it. Yeah, most of you guys aren't on it. and I kind of wonder where the app's going. So I don't know how much longer I'm going to stay on that. Are you going to fully convert to YouTube then? Yeah, and of course I'm on Steemit. I'm on Steemit. So these clips are available on Steemit. Jesse doesn't have a preference. When you leave YouTube, it shuts down. Well, that's because I close out of both. I mean, that's why. I don't know. I mean, I strummed a tune. That was pretty fun. But anyway, LiveMe is a streaming app that I use. It's not compatible to stream simultaneously with YouTube, so I stream on 2 different devices, and there's people tuning in on both. So yeah, and I'm thinking about just kind of going on YouTube. That's what's going on. All right, so moving on here, there was that. There was also, thank you guys so much for wishing Lucy a good morning. I appreciate that. Balthazar, thank you so much for the super chat contribution. And you're already getting into the question, so I'll go ahead and read that. As much as $82.5 billion could be made by taxing religious institutions, but no more Learjet. Scientology is considered a nonprofit, despite their business model literally being profit. All right, so Balthazar, for those of you that didn't see it on Twitter, I tweeted today's question. So today's question, what we're going to open up with, should we tax? Now, somebody pointed this out on Twitter. I think Heather pointed this out. I did not word the question as well as I should have. I don't think it's a huge deal, but I should have said religious institutions. I should have just said churches. Because, you know, hey, I'm not a religious guy, so churches to me is just kind of an all-encompassing thing that refers to any type of religious institution, but I should have said religious institutions, not just churches. So that's what I meant. This is the question for today. Should we tax religious institutions? Is Lucy okay? Yes, Lucy is totally fine. I just noticed in the chat today, people are wishing her a good morning, which I very much appreciate. She appreciates it. She's asleep on the bed. I don't know what she's up to, but yeah, Lucy's totally fine. All right, so that's today's question. Should we tax religious institutions? Religious institutions? My answer is yes. My answer is yes. I understand the hesitations, and I'll address each of them. So first of all, we should tax religious institutions. Now, I brought this up to my girlfriend. We were having breakfast today. She works in the nonprofit sector. And not in the religious sector, but in the nonprofit sector. And she said, you know, I think in principle we should totally tax churches and religious institutions, but I'd be worried if we did, that means people would start taxing nonprofit institutions and nonprofits. So I'll respond to that because I understand why people have that concern. So here's the thing. Don't be a goof like Sam Harris. That guy is an idiot, and it makes me mad that people listen to anything he says. I don't know much about Sam Harris. I tried to listen to Free Will, and I was so bored I had to stop. That's the only thing I know about him. I've never heard, I mean, I know apparently he said some kind of ridiculous stuff about war. I'm not familiar with that firsthand, though. I've never heard it firsthand. I tried to get through the book Free Will, and I was so incredibly bored. I mean, the way he picks holes in organized religion, I feel like anybody that's read a book about the topic could do that. Like, he offers nothing new. Like, he offers nothing new when it comes to that topic, at least what I've seen. And then when you hear him talk about how, well, we don't actually have free will because we're influenced by the environment we're brought up in. Well, that's just saying that our environment plays a role in influencing us. That doesn't mean we don't have free will. Like, he basically goes as far as to say, like, if you murder somebody and your background was X, you didn't really have a choice. It's like, no, you have a choice. He hates on religious people. He's pro-war. Yeah, I mean, I've heard all those things about him. Again, my only exposure was Free Will. I thought it was an incredibly insipid, boring book. And if that's kind of the, if that's an indicator of what this guy has to offer, I have no desire to listen to him. I found it incredibly boring. Balthazar, thank you again for the Super Chat contribution. And Balthazar also points out, L. Ron Hubbard, who Balthazar shares a birthday with, literally said the fastest way to make money is to start a religion. All right, so let's get back to the topic at hand. What's up, Platypus? Good morning. It's morning where you're at, right? Chris Hedges and Sam Harris debated. I would like to see that. That sounds interesting. I'll have to look that up. Thank you for the tip. So here's responding to the nonprofit part of it. Okay. I do agree that nonprofits should be heavily oversight, and there should be heavy scrutiny on them to make sure they're following the rules. A lot of nonprofits do follow the rules, but let's be honest, there are some flaws. The NFL was a nonprofit up until recently, guys. That says it all. The NFL was a nonprofit up until recently. So nonprofits, and the reason I think religious institutions should be taxed and nonprofits, if they're following the rules, nonprofits should remain tax exempt, is because nonprofits serve the bigger community. Religious institutions really don't. For the most part, religious institutions, they serve the members of their congregation. And the members of their congregation pay to be part of that religious institution. They pay. So you're not serving the overall community. Now, some religious institutions do general service. They do actual service for the community at large. So they should be entitled to write that off just like any other institution would be, just like a corporation would be able to, or anything else. You do charity work, you're able to write it off. End of story. Or if the religious institution does a lot of charity, then they should be able to start a nonprofit solely for that purpose, and then that isn't taxed. So the whole like, oh, what if they tax other nonprofits? I see a distinct difference, and religious institutions should be taxed. So there's that. The other component that people will bring up, well, look, if we tax religious institutions, they'll be able to preach politics from the pulpit. Guess what, guys? They already do. They already do. And when they blatantly violate the rules, you know what happens to them? Nothing. Let's remember what happened with Prop 8 in the Mormon Church. The Mormon Church blatantly violated rules that churches had to follow in regards to politics. They were pushing people. They were registering people to vote, making sure they voted against gay marriage, blatantly violating rules. And nothing happened to them. Absolutely nothing happened to them. So we already, and by the way, going on the Mormon example, go up to somebody in Utah that lives in the state of Utah and isn't Mormon and tell them we have a separation of church and state in this country. And then be prepared for them to either laugh hysterically in your face or cry uncontrollably. You know what I mean? So we don't. And I think a lot of you guys are kind of with me on this. But we don't have an actual separation of church and state. They preach politics from the pulpit all the time. I grew up Catholic in a church that was, and my parents would make me go to church. And our church was actually a little more progressive, comparatively speaking. It was conservative overall, but it was a little more progressive than a lot of, Christian sects. And even they, when Terry Shiva was going on, they would preach about that. They would preach about abortion. They would preach about, it goes hand in hand. Do they maybe not straight up tell you who to vote for? I think in many times they kind of dance around it. But yes, they're preaching politics from the pulpit. That already happens. Eric says that he lives in Utah, and that's exactly how the state runs. Yeah. The Mormon Church, they dictate your liquor licenses, Eric. You know that. They dictate the type of beer you can serve. Dwayne, I am watching Wild Wild Country right now. So don't say anything. I still have one more episode. And I'm really enjoying it. It is incredibly interesting. So that's another reason, like this whole thing, like, oh, well, they'll start preaching politics from the pulpit. They already do that. They already freaking do that. They basically, in Brazil, they basically shielded churches and preachers from persecution. I'm not familiar with that, but it sounds interesting. So yeah, I'm all about taxing religious institutions for all those reasons. There's just basically no argument against it. And for the charity work they actually do that benefits the community and isn't just limited to the people that are members of the church, which, by the way, they pay to be members of the church in most cases, or the religious institution in most cases. They can have a nonprofit for that, or they can write it off. Platypus says, okay. So I met with my local rep. I asked heaps of questions. Favorite was, are you a Freemason? He said, no, but my grandpa was a fellow craft. Well, technically, if you are a Freemason, you're not supposed to tell anybody, right? The Mormons took it further than church and state. They affected California and Utah exactly for voting third party, and they face no consequence for it. I know I'm missing some of the Live Me folks. In California, a different state from the church. Okay. They do already. Kimmy agreed. Right on. What's up, vegan goddess? How are you? So does anybody think, before we close out here on the question, does anybody think that we shouldn't tax churches? Does anybody think we should totally not tax churches? It should stay the way it is. Or excuse me, tax religious institutions. See, I naturally do it, you know. Is anybody a straight up no? 100 hard no. I know somebody on Twitter was a no. They didn't give a reason. But they did say they were a no. Oh, okay. So that's not a thing. I mean, I'm not an expert on Freemasons. I don't pretend to be. So they have stickers saying they're a Freemason. Okay. I thought you weren't supposed to tell, but I guess you can. I don't know. I'm not super familiar with what that's all about. I mean, I know the gist, but I don't. Yeah. All right. So I guess we're kind of a unified yes on this one, at least as of right now. I'm thinking of Fight Club. I always mix up the two. Whenever someone's like, I'm a Freemason, if they tell me, I'm like, oh, that's Combo Cow says that coffee better be Bustelo. It's not. I am a no unless we get rid of all its. All right, so propaganda is a no. Why are you a no? Are you saying because we should just tax everybody or nobody, or what's your reason for being a no? And Marcia, I hope your house is going well. Make church taxes pay for public contraception and public funded abortion. I just came in. What is the question? The question is, should we tax religious institutions? And actually, Natural Progressive, we were talking about Utah a good bit. We were talking about Utah a lot. We seem to all be yes here. I say no, though I don't know what the question was. The question was, should we tax religious institutions? Yes, Natural Progressive says yes. Well, we were talking about Utah a good bit, actually. Sean, to answer your question, I am incredibly beyond disappointed that Elizabeth Warren was stumping for Cordray. Incredibly disappointed. I don't like Cordray. We recently did a video about him. I'm all about Kucinich. I'm all about Dennis Kucinich. Oh, here we go. Balthazar brings this point up before we move on here. Should they pay back taxes too? So I say there you have to depend. It depends on the size of the church. I think that some of the smaller churches, I don't think so. Just because, I mean, they were following the rules that were given to them. But some of these mega churches, you know, where the pastor drives a Rolls Royce or whatever, Some of these like they're the most corrupt of churches. I think they should, yes. So I would say, as far as back taxes go, put it at a certain number. Say if your church is worth more than $100,000 or something like that, then you get back taxes too. That's what I say. That's my opinion on that. Bluebell says no back taxes, but tax them to the hilt from here on out. I definitely agree. And I'd be fine if there weren't back. I could live with it if there wasn't. I say, depending on the size of the church, there should be. Because they've been getting away with corruption for so long. And they've been violating rules. And I mean, like, it's not about Rolls Royces. It's about Lear's jets. Where's Lucy? Lucy is asleep on the bed. But she may make an appearance. You never know. So you guys, a lot of you guys are done with Warren because of this. Joel Osteen, yeah. What the hell? Ron has a live show? Yes, he does. Welcome to Get Your News On with Ron, the world's first viewer-curated streaming news show. This is the show where we literally get our news on together. I don't even think I did the intro today, guys. I think we just went into the question because everyone was so excited to get to it. But yeah, this is the show. You guys tweet me articles, and that's how we build the show. You guys make this show. You guys tweet me what you want to talk about, and that's what we talk about. I'm not prepared at all for this show. But we open up with a question, and today's question was, should we tax religious institutions? We're mostly yeses here, a couple no's, and then we also asked, should they pay back taxes? I say if they are at a certain level, they should. If they're under $100,000, they shouldn't have to. Some people are like, don't go that far, just tax them from here on out. I understand that. But I say, you know what? These, what are you, high? I wish, DC. We actually need to get together. Because remember, Monsanto is getting involved with pot. So from now on, I go as local as possible to buy my pot. So, oh, by the way, guys, I am looking into the audio issue. I know we still have some audio clipping issues over on the YouTube. And I think if I get a new mic and possibly move over to the OBS streaming system, that should take care of our problem. I looked up what the best USB streaming mics are, and I think I'm going to be investing into a new mic. And then I think if we, a couple other tweaks should solve our issue. So I'm working on that. I was hoping to get to it this weekend, but I had a busier weekend than I anticipated, but I'm working on it. I'm totes working on it. All right, here we go. Let's move on. This article was sent by Jennifer, and it was the first one tweeted today. Let me go ahead and give it a Get Your News On with Ron retweet. I opened it without giving it a retweet. Scroll down, Ron. Scroll down. Where's that tweet from Jennifer? Yes, here we go. All right. Thank you, Jennifer. This will be a fun one to start. Ron's so slow when he scrolls his Twitter line. Ed Schultz. You guys know Ed Schultz. This article is from the Washington Free Beacon. MSNBC fired me for supporting Bernie Sanders. They were in the tank for Hillary Clinton. So we're going back a little bit here. Ex-MSNBC host Ed Schultz, in a recent interview, ripped his former network as in the tank for Hillary Clinton and suggested he was fired in 2015 because of his support for Senator Bernie Sanders. Schultz, who now anchors a show on RT, told National Review's Jamie Weinstein in an interview posted Friday that MSNBC chief Phil Griffin was a watchdog, and he said he was often given direction on what stories to cover. Sanders gave his official campaign launch speech in Burlington, Vermont on May 26, 2015. And Schultz says he was the only cable news host planning to air it live. He had also taped an interview with Sanders at the lawmaker's home ahead of the speech. However, he said Griffin calling him 5 minutes before airtime at 5 p.m. Eastern time, he said, "You're not covering this." It got rather contentious. He said he was forced to cover something totally meaningless in Texas. It involved devastating flooding in Texas and Oklahoma. that had killed a dozen people, as well as the unrest in Baltimore over the death of Freddie Gray. Well, I think those are both also newsworthy, but why can't you also cover Bernie announcing his presidential run? Schultz opined he was forced out of MSNBC because of his support for Sanders and MSNBC's water carrying for Clinton. I think the Clintons were connected to NBC News chief Andy Lack, connected at the hip. Schultz says, I think that they didn't want anybody in their primetime or anywhere in their lineup supporting Bernie Sanders. They were in the tank for Hillary Clinton, and I think it was managed. And 45 days later, I was out at MSNBC. I thought it stunk, he added. Interesting. So I also was forced off of a show because I was not in the tank for Hillary Clinton. And I don't know, maybe me and Ed Schultz should compare notes. Maybe me and Ed Schultz should get together. Maybe I should write them. In fact, you know what, guys? If you want to do me a favor, tweet at him. Tell him he should have me on. Because I, too, was kicked off of a very, very pro-Clinton show for not being pro-Clinton. Can you get Phil Donahue a series on those forced out? That would be interesting. So yeah. But yeah, I was I know how that goes. So I believe Ed Schultz, honestly. I totally believe him. Does anyone not believe him? Stephanie Miller show. People were saying it in the chat, but yeah, Stephanie Miller show. I was kicked off of the Stephanie Miller show. I think they're open about it too, so it's not like I'm. But yeah, I was kicked off of the Stephanie Miller show. I was always pretty far to the left of the show, but I didn't realize that was a problem, but apparently it was. So and the last thing I ever said on the show was single payer now, and they and they bleeped it. They totally banished the hour. You can't. So my last hour, I kind of said they were crapping on Bernie for absolutely nothing, and it was right after What Happened came out, that ridiculous book, and I said, I think it's very telling that that Bernie Sanders is out promoting Medicare for all, and Hillary Clinton is out promoting herself. I think that's saying a lot. And and that's what got me kicked off. That, and I kind of said Russiagate was getting a little ridiculous and we should just wait until we have some compelling evidence before we move forward. And they said that was... I quit watching her a long time ago. I like the song they had for you, though. Well, Karen, I got a treat for you. Placone. Hang on, let me find the note. This is for you, Karen. Placone. It's like he's your nice sad brother, one from another mother. Mama put on their Placone. Play his jingle on his own. Placone, told the truth and he got the bone. Placone, it's Placone today. Placone, it's Placone today. So there you go. Don't be modest, LOL. That was my theme. I didn't write it or come up with it. That wasn't me. I wouldn't. So there you go, Karen. There you go. You don't have to miss the theme song anymore. I'm not going to do that. What's my favorite protest song? Um, what's my favorite protest song? Damn, that's hard. Jeez, my favorite. You know what? I'm gonna go with do I yes, Craig gave me the line of told the truth, then he got boned. Thank you, Craig. Let's see. My favorite protest song is Guy Fawkes' Table by Attila the Stockbroker. He's a kind of obscure guy, and but he's great. And he's out in the UK, and you should totally look up that song. Now, the cool thing about Guy Fawkes' Table is that he encouraged people to rewrite versions of it and make it topical with whatever you're talking about. He was actually talking about the Iraq War, but he encouraged people to RX Bandits. Man, I've not heard from them in a while. I think they're still around. I think RX Bandits are still playing. I haven't heard that name in maybe like 15 years. This Is Why We Fight by the Decemberists. That's a great song. Uprising by Muse. I'm not familiar with that song. Bob Marley. Good choice. Give Peace a Chance. Beautiful song. Machine Gun by Jimi Hendrix. The Revolution Will Not Be Televised by Last Poets. We talked about Last Poets in my music podcast, 5 Chords and the Truth. Killing in the Name of. Masters of War. War Pigs. That's a good one. I like it. Donation. Thank you so much, Natural Progressive, for your super chat contribution. Donation courtesy of my resolution with my previously employer. Everyone needs to fight for their rights. Watch Graham Elwood with me. Workers' rights. That's awesome, Natural Progressive. And hey, Graham Elwood, I'll do a quick plug here. Graham Elwood and I are touring. So you should bring us to Utah. We'd love to come. Testify by Rage Against the Machine. Jesse says. Vietnam Song, Forever Voting Third Party says. Political Piggies. Let's see. RX Bandits are part of a really cool side project called The Sound of Animals Fighting. If people haven't heard, I've not heard of them. Jordan, can you email me some of their music so I can check it out, please? I'd really love it if you did that, actually, because I used to really like RX Bandits back when I was young. BYOB by System of a Down, Kimmy says. So we're talking, by the way, for anyone that's just tuning in, we're talking our favorite protest songs. Ani DeFranco, Self-Evident, Fall of the American Empire by Dispatch. Another RX Bandits got another shout out. You know what? Let's Pasta try to get one of the members of RX Bandits to do the show. Tell them they're a pretty politically savvy band, so I'm sure they'd enjoy the premise. And tell them they were getting a lot of shout outs from people that like this show. So Prophets of Rage, Flames of the Free by TYR. Is that who that is? I'm not familiar with that. My Immortal. Punk Rockers Are the Kings of Protest Songs. Ron, did you check out Revolution Beat by Flipside? I have not checked it out yet, Ashley, but it is on my list. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it on my podcast, 5 Chords and the Truth. Oh, man, someone brought up Billy Bragg. Waiting for the Great Leap Forward. I was 25 years when I wrote this song. I'm 20. Wait, no, that's not even a word. I was 21 years when I wrote this song. I'm 22 now, but I won't be for long. Flashing on I grew up to be a man when all the girls I left in school already pushing around. I love you then and I love you still, but I put you on the pedestal, I put you on the bill. All right, that's it. I don't want to get a copyright violation. But guys, if you haven't, check out my interview with Billy Bragg. We had a fun interview together. Love Billy Bragg. I love Billy Bragg too. Take Them Down by Dropkick Murphys. You know, Dropkick. Kerplunk Says Anything by Ted Nugent. Love it. Refuse, resist. Kimmy's got some good ones today. Vintage Michael Franti. Ron, pretty sure you said you don't really know who Immortal Technique is. I'm not super familiar, no. But you should listen to him. His shit is really political, and he was active for Jill Stein. Oh, did he do that Jill Stein song that they used? Jill Stein had a really cool hip-hop song that was like her Blowin' in the Wind, classic choice. Angelic Upstarts, Solidarity. All right, I got to take a screenshot of that because I'm not familiar with that, but I want to check that out. And you guys, by the way, if you are able, feel free to email me some songs to cover on the podcast. And I do have I have a podcast about music and politics called 5 Chords and the Truth that comes out every Monday, where we talk about issues pertaining to music and politics, and we listen to music and we play games. It's a fun one. Oh, fuck. James gives a shout out to Stiff Little Fingers. Todd Snyder. So, Dan, when I have my morning show, there were only 2 people that blew off my morning show. And unfortunately, Todd Snyder was one. The other one was, oh man, I'm drawing on the name. The lead singer of the Melvins. Who's the lead singer? Buzz Osborne. Buzz Osborne. My email, go to ronplacone.com, and email me there. It's just ronplaconebooking@gmail.com. But if you go to my website, if you don't want to remember the Gmail address, just go to my website. So No Way Back by the Foo Fighters. Yeah, please send me some music, you guys. I would appreciate it so much. Yeah, because I really... But anyway, Dan, Todd Snyder blew off my morning show. And what we did was we did a song where we did a version of All Right Guy, but we called it All Right Show. And it's actually on my YouTube channel. If you search through my YouTube channel, just go Ron Placone, Todd Snyder. You'll find that video. I was a much different person back then. I had long hair, and I looked a lot different. James Conley by Black 47. Another shout out from Jesse. So We Are the Guillotine by The Coup. Disturbed, Another Way to Die. Ron was born after the disco revolution. That's true, I was. Although I have been 27 since the year 1933. So anything by MC5, James says. James, I have a feeling we would get along if we ever spun records together. I have a feeling we would have a really fun time if you and I ever spun some music together. By the way, Joe, make a clip out of the protest song stuff that we're talking about. This has got to be its own clip. Guys, we could talk music all day, every freaking day. Zombie by the Cranberries. Connor Oberst has some good protest songs. I agree. Bright Eyes. When the President Talks to God, that was my favorite protest song by him. Like When the President Talks to God. Very, very, very strong anti-Bush song. Neil Young. Let's give a shout out to Neil Young. He had some good stuff during the Bush era, especially. So, guys, we could do this all day. In fact, we're going to do this as a question later this week. So we did the Ed Schultz. We have a ton of stories. We're going to get to maybe half of them. But we're going to get started here. And guys, I have to say this real quick. This is another news update that was not tweeted, but this is an update on net neutrality. So here in Pasadena, where I live, a lot of you guys have been following this. I went to my city hall to make the case for building municipal internet in Pasadena. And 4 Dead in Ohio. Yeah, classic. She came in through the bathroom window by Joe Cocker. Nice. That was one of my least favorite covers Joe Cocker did, actually. I really did not like his version of She Came In Through the Bathroom Window. Now, who doesn't? You got to love his version to Get By With a Little Help of My Friends. Come on. Oh, Joe tweeted a net neutrality article. All right. So, Joe, retweet your net neutrality article so it's fresh on the list. because I did want to give a quick update about municipal internet here in Pasadena. Guys, it's going to be on a city agenda. It's going to be on a city agenda here in my community in Pasadena on May 8th. I got the answer from them yesterday, and it's going to be on an agenda May 8th. So let me kind of give a quick snapshot, because I'm not bringing this up because, oh, I want to tell you what I'm doing. I'm bringing this up because this is what I'm doing in my community, and you can do this in yours. And I've tried to help other people do it. Platypus asks, may I link you to my first YouTube video when it's done, please? I call my channel What Do You Mean? And thank you again for inspiring me. Platypus, that's very sweet of you to say. And of course, you can link me. I definitely want to see your video. Please do. And thank you for the super chat contribution. So, net neutrality. So I know that we know what net neutrality is. This is net neutrality is that which assures that we have a free and open internet, that the internet is a free information superhighway, that information cannot be throttled or slowed down, that paid prioritization cannot be a thing from different content providers. Net neutrality assures all that. We've had net neutrality assumed since the invention of the internet. We've always had net neutrality rules assumed. They were cemented in stone, not in stone, but they were cemented in 2015 when the FCC designated the internet a Title II classification. What Title II means is that it is a free-flowing source, kind of like flowing water, like when you have water coming out of your faucet, or like a telephone. If I call one of you guys on the phone, or you call me, or one of us calls the White House, it's just tweeted like a phone call. It's not tweeted any differently. That's how it works. So that's what the internet that's what the internet was designated as. So this was challenged by the Ajit Pai FCC, and they repealed net neutrality. So now net neutrality, we don't have it. So all the stuff I described can happen. The internet could look like cable television 2.0. They could throttle small content creators like me, like other shows that you guys love, and they could give priority to CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, etc. They can oversee fast lanes and slow lanes. They can enforce different internet packages on consumers and price gouge them. So that's all a reality now. And Shaz points out Ajit Pai is Obama's guy. He was appointed originally by Obama. And let's keep in mind that Tom Wheeler did not want to instill net neutrality. These people that make it out like Obama was a hero of net neutrality, he wasn't. Like, net neutrality is something we've only had since 2015. That's not technically true. That's misleading. And that Tom Wheeler wanted to control the internet. He didn't. Tom Wheeler didn't want net neutrality. Why? Because Tom Wheeler was a cable lobbyist. We got net neutrality because the people demanded it. They crashed the FCC's website demanding it. So that's why we have net neutrality. And did the Obama administration do the right thing at the 11th hour? Yes, Obama was like, we should have net neutrality. He did do that. Yes. Tom Wheeler did the right thing. Yes, they did do the right thing. But it's because they were forced to. It's because they were forced to. And I think that's like the best example of the difference between Republicans and Democrats, really. It's like Democrats don't want to do the right thing, but occasionally they're forced to. And they have to wait later for a Republican that's not going to be forced to. They'll lay the groundwork to not do the right thing later. But anyway, so that's what's going on. Now, what does municipal internet do? Municipal internet ends that fight once and for all because it puts the internet back in the public's hands. It basically means that the internet infrastructure belongs to the public and not to a private ISP that wants to price gouge you. There are municipal internet efforts going on in Longmont, Colorado, in Fort Collins, Colorado, in Chattanooga, Tennessee. They've had it since 2014. Chattanooga, Tennessee has had municipal internet since 2014. They enjoy the best internet in the country at a price that is lower than what most people pay for their internet. Sandy, Oregon, doing something similar. Similar results. They enjoy really good internet at a price that's more affordable than what most of us pay. So that That's what's going on with net neutrality. I'm pushing for municipal internet in my community in Pasadena. So what did I do? Summary of what I've done so far. I showed up at City Hall. We announced it on the Jimmy Dore show, which, yes, that did help because we had a big block of people behind us and we all spoke. Or, well, not all of us, but a lot of us spoke. And we talked about the importance of net neutrality in municipal internet. You can find that clip online. And by the way, Joe points out that net neutrality officially dies on April 23rd because that's when the time window for the Congressional Review Act is over. So come April 23rd, they can really start doing something. They can really start price gouging. So yeah, you haven't noticed any difference yet because there's still people fighting and states are fighting for their own net neutrality laws. So that's what I did. I showed up at my city hall. At my city hall, they agreed to put it on an actual city agenda. And that takes a while. I was at my city hall in January. It is going to be on the agenda on May 8th. So my next step is to show up to that meeting and encourage them to go forward with municipal internet. Either we're going to get a ballot resolution, meaning it'll be something that the citizens can vote on, or it's going to be something that the city council kind of votes on, and if they approve it, they'll start offering it to consumers. And then the task becomes we need to get the public on board so that they use municipal internet instead of the ISPs, and the ISPs slowly become obsolete in Pasadena. That's the goal. And you can do this in your community too. You can show up at your city hall. You can do this. If anybody wants, some people have emailed me for my transcript. I've sent it to anybody that has asked me. If you want my transcript, because you're not sure, gee, I don't speak in public often, I don't know what to say, I will send you my transcript word from word, what I said, and you can do your own version of it. You can even say howdy howdy in the end if you want to. I'd be flattered if you did. So that's an update on not just what's going on with me, but what's going on in the country. And on April 23rd, the timeline ends for the Congressional Review Act to go through, and it looks like it's probably not going to happen. So we need to fight this. Otherwise, our internet is going to look similar to what North Korea has. And, you know, people make it out like that's not a reality, like there's no way. People thought the Telecommunications Act of 1996 never would have happened. No one saw that coming. But a bunch of people all of a sudden lost their jobs. And radio, that was meant to be a local medium, became the opposite. You don't think the same thing could happen? The internet is meant to be a free and open information highway. You don't think they could take it and make it their own thing? They did it to radio. They did it to TV. Why wouldn't they do it to the internet if we don't stop them? They can. They can. All right, so let's move on to something else. Sorry, guys, I'm trying to. All right, this is from Lay. Let me go ahead and give this a Get Your News On with Ron retweet. And guys, we're not going to get to a lot of what you guys sent today, and I apologize for that. But we only have an hour, and we're almost out. Senator Sanders introducing bill targeting opioid manufacturers. U.S. Senator Bernie Sanders will introduce a bill on Tuesday. That's today. That would fine opioid drug manufacturers for deceptive marketing and implement the harshest penalties yet on drug makers found responsible for contributing to the drug epidemic. Good. While we're at it, let's outlaw evergreening. Let's outlaw, Lee, okay, sorry. Let's outlaw evergreening. Let's outlaw free lunches for doctors. Let's outlaw all that stuff. That should all be outlawed. So good. I'm glad that he's doing this. And, this is just an example. This is who we should be going after. I remember we did a story on, New York State wants to come down harder on drug dealers in an attempt to just benefit the for-profit prison industry. This is what's really going on. These are the real drug dealers, the pharmaceutical industries, the ones that overmarket their products, that bribe doctors to get them to overprescribe them. Let's outlaw that. So good for Senator Sanders. Good for him introducing this bill. And I hope it moves forward. I really do. We shall see. I have a feeling some corporate Democrats are going to stop it and then give this BS lip service as to why they did. That's what I think is going to happen. All right, what else do we got here? This is from Brian, and this is something going on in Washington State. I used to live up in Seattle, so this is a place near and dear to my heart. This is from the Seattle Weekly, as a matter of fact. Activists begin collecting signatures for a carbon fee initiative. Okay. Brian says that this is an important thing that will be a biggest stab at fossil fuels. So maybe this is something that other folks can follow their example. A carbon fee initiative could be on Washington State's November ballot if activists succeed in gathering enough signatures in the coming months. A kickoff meeting was held on April 9th. It's a clean energy effort. And initiative 1631. So what would it do? It would levy a $15 per ton fee on carbon emissions from large carbon emitters beginning in 2020, an amount that would then rise by $2 per ton each year, adjusted for inflation. Dude, yes. Now, they're saying this fee could increase the cost of gas by roughly 15 cents per gallon, say supporters, a lower impact than previously proposed costs under the Carbon Washington-sponsored I-732. I don't know how they can determine that, because the price of gas is determined by a worldwide demand. So I guess maybe they're saying it would affect it that much, since the U.S. consumes so much of that, of fossil fuels, etc. But we'll see. I am all about this, because here's something else. And, I know that we're probably going to have some people that are going to be on the other side of this one. But I really think if you have a big, huge carbon emitting vehicle, like a truck or whatever, and you don't need it for your job, I think you should be taxed more. I just think especially, I live in Los Angeles. When I see people driving around trucks and driving around these Hummers and stuff like that, where you get like 6 miles to the gallon, and it's just gross. And you're just driving it because of status, or because you want somewhere to hang your dumb flag. I think you should be taxed more, unless you need it for your job. If you need it for your job, I think that should be different. And I'm saying, and that refers to individuals. Now, big corporations that have trucks, I think they should just be taxed. Yeah, tax the shit out of them. But for individuals, I think if you need it for your job, then that's different. But if you don't, and you just have it because you just want it for status or whatever, you should be taxed more. That's fine. You have the right to buy it. That's fine. But you should be taxed. That's what I think. You should be taxed. So yeah, I'm all about something like this. And whatever designates large carbon emitters, I hope it's everything from the Hummer to the big corporations and their logistical needs. And I hope that Jeff Bezos, especially since this is up in Seattle, I hope Jeff Bezos is hit incredibly hard by this. I hope he is. I hope he is kicked in the mouth, but metaphorically, financially, metaphor. I don't mean literally. Aren't they taxed through the gas they use? No, not good enough. Not good enough. They should have a carbon emissions tax, because the gas you buy, you're buying the gas. You're buying the gas. That's not good enough. Not at the expense of global warming, not at the expense of everything else that's going on. There should be separate carbon taxes. That's what I think. And I think that high emission vehicles should pay an extra tax. The tax on gas is not even close to reality. I agree. I agree. Cool. So thanks for sharing that. And some of you guys have already tweeted me about the transcript. Please email me if you don't mind. Yes. Email me. Placone.com. Oh, Jesse requests the 27 since 33 song. I will close with it. Yes. And we are pretty much out of time. Let's see if there's a really, really quick one we can do to close out here. DC sent a lot of good pot news that we don't have time to get to. I'm looking for like a really, really fast one. Oh, here we go. Let's close on a fun one, all right? So because we only have a few minutes left, we're going to close on a fun one. And this is from Marcus. This is a lighter story to end. Good one. Yeah, Marcus was like, all right, good call, Marcus. World's first frozen Coca-Cola slushy packs arrive in Japan. All right, I know we have frozen Cokes, but lemon, Coca-Cola, and frozen slushy packs sounds like a great idea for Singapore's hot weather, but you would have to go to Japan for this icy treat. After 8 years of research and more than 100 prototypes, Coca-Cola announced it will be releasing the world's first frozen slushy packs in Japan on Monday, April 14th. Now, you can get a frozen Coca-Cola slushy at any given 7-Eleven, but it doesn't come in packs. I feel like we're having a Spinal Tap moment. Well, can't we just make the Coca-Cola slushy bigger or smaller? Yeah, but these come in packs. These go up to 11. It's 11 because it comes in packs. It comes in packs. It's 11. Comes in packs. So good for Japan. These slushy packs will be sold in stores across Japan at 130 yen, which is equal to $1.60 each. Coca-Cola's move come after its lemon-flavored Coke received lukewarm responses when the flavor was first released in 2005 and again in 2014. You don't like the flavor? Well, we're going to freeze it. We're going to freeze it. And the verdict is out as to whether or not you can be able to clean your toilet with this frozen slushie. Because you can with Diet Coke. We all know that. Guys, we are totally out of time. Thank you so much for being part of this. We need to extend this show. We need to extend this show. It needs to be longer. It needs to be way longer. I'm working on it, guys. And I'm working on getting better audio equipment. I'm working on getting better lighting. I'm working on all that. Thank you guys for bearing with me. How can you help out? Patreon.com/Ron Placone for a pay what you can level. Pay what you can level. You can give whatever you want, whatever's comfortable. And you get free show tickets. If I'm coming to your town, you get to attend that show for free. You get exclusive content. You get a posting every Wednesday, and a podcast every Sunday. And you also get my album delivered to your inbox. I'm doing an album this year that's going to be delivered to your inbox. And you're going to get my book in 2019. I'm writing a book in 2019. You're going to get that PDF delivered to your inbox. You get all that for being a patron. Patreon.com/Ron Placone. And you help me build this show and make it longer. Guys, via request, follow me on Twitter at Ron Placone. That's where you tweet me articles. Or you use our Reddit subsection, reddit.com/r/GetYourNewsOnWithRon. Tune in, tune often. We do this every Tuesday through Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I will be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. And guess what? Here's an announcement. Kenneth Mejia is going to be our guest tomorrow. We got Kenneth Mejia coming in. He is a Green Party candidate running here in California. Very bright guy, really cool dude. I'm excited to talk to him again. Kenneth Mejia is going to be our guest. You know, we've been talking a lot about green entering versus not green entering. We had Nick Brana on. He is not a green enter guy. He talked about why he chose not to do that. So it makes sense. We're going to have a Green Party guy on. So we're going to have Kenneth Mejia on. And I'm really excited to talk to him. So looking forward to Kenneth Mejia. That's going to be fun. So tune in tomorrow for that. RonPlacone.com. I'm announcing more and more tour dates by the date. Hey, if you want to bring me and Graham to your city, do it. What are you waiting for? Bring me and Graham to town. Me and Graham Elwood are touring. By request, Jesse requested 27 since 33. So I'm going to close out with that. And then the theme song. You guys are awesome. I love you very much. Go Devils. Go Pens. I've been 27 since 33. What the hell does society want from me? I've been 27 since 33. Age is just a myth to me. I've been 27 since 33 and say I'm an old soul. I've been 27 since 33. I still need rock and roll. Robert went down to see the devil, said you wanna go down too. I said, Robert, that seems a little bit heavy for me, but you do you. 3 drinks later, I was there by his side. He said, hey, Ron, you wanna go for a ride? I said, hey, Robbie, I just wanna make it through. 27 since 33. Seen it all, but not all seen me. I've been 27 since 33. Someday I'll get that vasectomy. I've been 27 since 33. On my brain and face is cold. I've been 27 since 33, and I'm never growing old. Robert said, hey, devil, I want to be the best that there'll ever be. The devil said, hey, fool, I can do that for you, but you gotta do something for me. You'll be the best there'll ever be, but at 27 you'll die. And your friend over there with the long red hair will be the same age forever. He'll be the same age forever. He'll be the same age forever that he is tonight. 27 since 33. I've been 27 since 33. I've been 27 since 33. Get your news on, I wanna know what's going on. Get your news on today. Get your news on, I wanna know what's going on. So things start World War III. Tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and make it up. Thank you guys so much for sticking around. I love you all very much. This has been Get Your News On with Ron, the world's first viewer-curated streaming news show. I will see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Kenneth Mejia will be joining us. Get your questions ready. Peace.